Good Saturday morning and welcome back. Here we are, another opportunity again on this sixth day of the week, and we can jump right in this morning. And we're looking at a meditation on the hard sayings of Jesus, between not being able to really understand what he's talking about at times, and then the other times when we really do understand what he's talking about. As he is speaking truth, he's cutting through a lot of noise. He's getting to the signal, and that signal has a way of activating our heart. And one of the ways that we know that he is activating our heart, not only does he warm our heart and draw us near him with great compassion, mercy, with tender mercies, with love, but he also gets to the very root and the heart of the matter. He gets down into the very depths of our spirit. He gets down to the place where some people call it where the rubber meets the road. And there are times that we can tell the Lord is dealing with us because he ticks us off. He makes us angry. He gets us upset. And it's something down in the depths of our spirit, as the Holy Spirit is rummaging around at our invitation, and he is shining that light of truth, bringing a deep sense of conviction, which then brings a great sense of transformation. That's the way the process works. He illuminates it with the light of truth. He convicts us by showing us Jesus versus who and what we are, and then rather than condemnation kicking in, telling us what a dirty dog we are, how low down and terrible we are, he affirms to us his loving kindnesses and his transforming power. And then we come out of that situation with that illumination, transformation, and now then we become more like Yeshua HaMashiach, Jesus the Christ. Great process, but it's not without its pain, and that's part of what it makes it the hard sayings of Jesus. So I've entitled this little section, Who Needs a Contract? One of the statements I made on a Tuesday evening to our True Seekers Bible study is that with people we have covenants. Regarding things, we have contracts. And when people have contracts, they typically don't read the small print when they first get involved. It's only when they find a problem, when that car turns into a lemon, when it's not delivering like it was supposed to, and disillusionment is setting in, that's when they start scanning that paperwork to see what kind of recourse of action they have in order to deal with that situation. That's kind of like life under a contract. Read the small print and get out of that situation. With people, we have covenants. Regarding things, we often have contracts. But even then, why do we have to have contracts if we think about that? There's a certain element of that is precisely dealt with by Jesus, and he lays the basis here. And it sounds very sanctimonious, but he's actually going to lay out something, and then he's going to obliterate it. And there's going to be some fallout. So let's dive into that. Matthew chapter 5, verse number 33 says very simply, Again, you have heard that it was said to the people long ago. When it was said to the people long ago, it was either Moses or those who developed oral traditions and interpretations, translations. You have the Talmud, you have the Targums, the Mishnah, and the Torah. Now the Torah is the 5 books of Moses, and you get into the Targums, the Talmud, the Mishnahs. Now you have oral traditions and the teaching of the chief rabbis that's somewhat codified. It's written down, it's studied, because there's certain schools of thought within the Sanhedrin. There's Shimei and Hillel, One tends to be way more liberal. The other one tends to be way more conservative. And now they're asking Jesus, what school do you belong to? Where do you fit in? How do we fit you into the rest of our Judaism? And Jesus seems to be coming with a wrecking ball. And this is very disconcerting right off the top to the religious leaders. It's somewhat comforting to the people who find themselves on the fringes and on the outs with Judaism. Here's what he says. Again, you have heard it was said to the people long ago, do not break your oath, but fulfill to the Lord the vows you have made. Here was the standard. Don't break oaths, but fulfill to the Lord the vows you have made. Now, there doesn't seem to be any inclination to look at the fact of whether somebody has made an oath that was worth making or have taken a position, but let's go even a little bit smaller. Why do people feel like they need to make an oath? And we encounter these oaths from time to time in scriptures when somebody utters the words, may the Lord do unto me, and even worse if I don't do this. It's a way of taking an oath. It's a way of, think about this, it's a way of increasing the power of your word with people by attaching something dire to yourself. May this happen to me if I don't do this. And it's a way of basically saying this, no, I'm really serious this time. I really mean what I'm saying. It really, on the smallest level, tells us that the power of language has been thrown down. That words don't mean much. They're just words. In its simplest form, all we should need is a noun, a pronoun, and a verb, and another noun or pronoun. Like the very simple phrase, I love you. That is I pronoun. And then you have a verb, love, and then followed by another noun or a direct object, you. And that is the simplest flow of action from one person to another. But what happens when people throw the word love around? Now we have to add other words to it to define it for another person what it means, because confusion has come in. And so here's what we do. We take an adverb and we throw it in there. And we expand the sentence. I really love you. So you see that? Now we have to put the word really in there, which is an adverb, a helping word for a verb. We have to throw that in there to intensify the verb. It used to be good enough to simply have that verb love in there. But now we have to extend the sentence, and we have to make it even more clear. I really love you with the agape love of God. Now I have to do a lot of helping words to explain what I mean. What used to be good enough with a single word now has to be expanded upon. You see what's happening there? What's forced a lot of this expansion of language? The basic dishonesty of people and the basic tendency of people to make a big promise and not come through. Disappointment and trauma and problems and failure come in, and it multiplies words. And so we have to intensify that oath, and we have to come up with all kinds of phrases in order to let somebody know, I really mean to follow through and do the thing that I said that I do. And here's a way that it's codified. Do not break your oath, but fulfill to the Lord the vows you have made. So it assumes that vows are things that should be made and that people break them, and people need to be warned to be a person of their word. Why is that something that has to be said? Because people have a tendency to under-deliver upon their word. Have you ever noticed that? Has anybody ever disappointed you by making a promise to you and then failing to keep it? You would think the simple remedy would be, don't ever make an oath. Do not make an oath. Their remedy was, don't break it, but fulfill to the Lord the vows you have made. Well, we're going to see what Jesus does. He goes into the root of this tradition because it deals with people, our relationship with people, and how we communicate with people. And I think that Jesus wants to completely revolutionize the way that we act with people. Remember, it's not only the vertical relationship, loving the Lord our God with all of our heart, our soul, our mind, and our strength. And the first 5 commandments deal with that. But Jesus now is dealing with this horizontal relationship, and he is dealing with those remaining commandments, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, which deal with one another. And he seems to be taking a wrecking ball to our perceptions about the law or the traditions that have sprung up around the law. And if we understand that, it begins to make things much more clear. Jesus is going to simplify this for us. And we're going to see that tomorrow as we finish out this section on Sunday. Until then, Lord bless you. As you think about this, may his grace and peace be upon you, bringing you from thinking about it to a total transformation. Lord bless you. We'll see you tomorrow.